Kobe. We're going to go right into questions. James, you want to start us off?
Porter, you talked about how much bigger they were than you, but you guys outran them today. Wasn't that the key? I mean, you just better athletes today.
Yeah, we got some offense going by running. Jalen Moore outran him a handful of times. Glenn got out in transition. We were turning deep turnovers. I think they adjusted too. They started going small, and that's when we had to go small. You know, so they were putting number 24 at the Jordan Wood at the 5, and we were adjusting because they were trying to get us in rotation. So we went small and we're just switching everything. But you got to give them credit. I mean, they had 8 threes in the second half, and you know, Conca, what a good kid. I really liked watching him. He went to UCLA, went to Wake Forest. I know he had 1 3 last year and none this year, and he went out and hit 4. I mean, give him credit. They had 8 threes that we couldn't put him away. And you got to give Stetson credit for knocking down those threes. But I thought Kobe gave us some great energy offensively. You know, confidence, and the more guys we get confidence can score, we're going to need that. And just a process with the guards, knowing what we want, when we want it, you know. But I thought Jalen Moore was great at what he was good at. What he's great at is having an energy for us. Even he didn't have a great start. You never know it. Every huddle, everything. And that's the difference between older, mature guys and then some younger guys. Sometimes their offense dictates their defense. You know, and Jalen Moore is a great example of, he missed his first couple shots. He missed a couple of sides. He knew the guy drove by him like twice to start the game. And we were on him, and he goes, "You're right, I got it." But you never looked at Jay Moore. It didn't look like he was just so grateful to be playing basketball. And that's what he's great at. We had some struggle times, and his energy was great.
Bob?
Going back to Kobe, he was in here yesterday. He admitted the first 2 games kind of clunky, very uneven. When he plays like this, how much better, how much easier does that make the game for you guys?
Well, it's another guy that can score and pass. I mean, I think how many assists did he have? 6?
Yeah.
So he had 24 points, 6 assists. He had 24 points on 15 shots. You know, that's huge for us. He had 3 steals. So he did a lot of good things. And also just knowing, and the more guys that can score, they know that puts a threat on our team. And they feel comfortable that they can do it. And it's not that we need every guy to do that every night, you know, because some nights it might be someone else is going. But it was great to see him just look completely comfortable on the offensive end and knocking down shots. He's been knocking down shots in practice, and he's been seeing it go in. And I thought he had a really good game, and I loved his leadership. He took the ownership right away, because I think it was 20 or 21. And he threw a full court pass that really wasn't there. It was like a time and score kind of pass. Like it was late game, we're up. Like you don't need that. It was such a gamble turned over. Then we were on a 2-on-1, and we had a 2-on-1, and then we dropped it off the date, and we missed a dunk. And Kobe's like, that started with me. I started that 2 position. It was great ownership on Kobe's part. Man, it really helps us just to get more and more, since we're all new guards, to get more and more guards comfortable at being able, you know, the ability to score.
Okay, we'll go Colton and Brody.
Porter, you already talked about it a little bit, but you guys started slow in the first half. It seemed like Jalen Moore took over, and then obviously in the second half they go on that 8-0 run. It seemed like his energy kind of propelled that 16-0 run you guys had. Just what does it mean to have a game changer like Jalen?
Well, he's got to be in everybody's scouting for transition. He runs so hard. I mean, he outruns you, and he got out there, and the players look for him because they know how it's going to end if he gets ahead. It's going to be a great dunk, and so it's his energy running really helps us. And but it started with getting some defensive stops. I think we started slow because we didn't get any stops. You know, I think they scored 10 points by the first media. That's on track for like an 80-point game, which is not who we are, and defensively. Jalen's transition running. He's been great at what he's good at, and that's getting out and running and finishing.
17 minutes for Dane Forsythe today. You mentioned getting some of your guards more comfortable. What do you see from him out there?
Winning plays. I saw a lot of winning plays from Dayton. Really nice passes. Was confident stepping into his shot. Some scrappy defensive plays. I just saw a lot of winning plays with him. And we've been talking all day about playing off 2 feet. In the second half, he got to the paint, played off 2 feet, and then dropped it off for like a dunk. I mean, he was under control, and a lot of winning plays Dayton made.
Trey?
Porter, 23 turnovers forced in this game. What did you kind of like from your defense, especially after those first 10 minutes in the first half?
I thought we had active hands. I thought we had a lot of deflections. I'm going to get my guy that charted deflections, but I think again we had like 9 gaps, which are 3 stops in a row. That's very, very high. And so and I told our guys, I'm tossed. I never want to be upset after a win. We put it in the bank. You're seeing teams, every year you'll stumble on a game that you shouldn't have. So I'm always grateful that we found a way to win and put it in the bank. But I'm judging against our best self. And our best self, there's room to be better defensively. I mean, I know it seems crazy, like we had 23, we forced 23 turnovers. We forced 20 the other day. So those are great signs of activity on defense, active hands. But I do think there's so much room for improvement that, and that's encouraging that there's room for improvement.
Myron?
You guys were just talking about, in college basketball, guys are coming and going. That's just the game today. And they were talking about how close they were. How do you, as a coach, foster that? They talked about going to dinner and they spent so much time together, but as a coaching staff, how do you foster that, getting to know each other and becoming a team? And just because they don't grow up together, it's not coming as freshmen and all that kind of stuff.
It's fighting for it from the day they got here. This is how we do things. This is, doing things off the floor, doing things, in the locker room, fighting for our culture. And, really talking about no entitlement, pulling for each other. From the day they walk in this program, there's that no entitlement, protect the team. It's fostering that. It's having great guys as a priority. But it's got to be a competitive advantage, and I think they're starting to see it's a competitive advantage when they're pulling for each other. But it's you fight for your culture every day. It's got every day, and it was from the first day they got here. We're saying what's important to us, and credit to them, they just kind of run with it. And every day that they're, you can see them pulling for each other. But with that though, this is the trickiness of that. Is it's hard to hold your friends accountable. That's not fun. Not everybody wants to be a leader, but that's the next evolution of your team, of when they can be really close, pulling for each other, and then they're holding each other accountable through tough times, and they're coming out positive on the other end. And because you really know how close your team is when you start having adversity, when you start fighting through a loss, fighting through some things, but I love the way this team's trending, where they go into each other, and I think it starts with Jalen Moore. I think he really pushes everybody every day in practice. He really has this spirit that cares for everybody, and he's backs it up with his toughness. Because it's one thing to do that in basketball, and then you don't play tough. Jalen Moore backs that up, that off the floor togetherness, that stuff. Then he backs it up with the toughness on the court. That's the combination you're striving for as a coach.
Zach?
Yeah, and Coach Moser, a lot of new faces on this team. Obviously, Jalen Moore is a familiar face to the fans, and like you said, he's a big presence on the court, but off the court of it as well. So, how much does he mean to this culture overall?
I know. I just talked about that a lot about him. He means, he's the leader of it. He's the guy that he packs up in practice every day. I mean, a guy's bought in when he gets mad at me for taking him out in practice. I pull him to get him reps out in practice, and he's like mad. So that everyone sees that. He wants to play. He wants to play every play, and so he sets the example vocally and with his effort.
Okay,
Trey,
one
yeah.
more. 24 threes tonight, 21 on Monday. Where does the 24 number kind of sit with how many you want to shoot? You want to shoot more? Is that kind of what you're looking for?
I gotta look at it. We took 24 tonight. I love utilizing it. We made 9. I love it. I want to keep shooting. And we took 24 with 2 guys that shoot the most threes in practice every day on the bench. So that's a good sign. But I love utilizing it. It's great to see different guys knock it down. Like, I love Kobe hit 4 today. Like, we had a game with Duke hitting 4. So when you start getting threats where everybody's confident in knocking it down, that's when we're gonna be really effective.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys.
Thanks.